Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Drago and welcome back to my Bloodborne Platinum Trophy guide. As you can see today, I'm getting started on Chalice Dungeons, and for now I'm just gonna do the boss fights, at least for the first few dungeons, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Now I swapped builds for the Chalice Dungeons. I wanted to show off my skill build, at least how it's coming up so far, and I know some of you guys are wondering about stats. For this build, I'm level 81, I've completed the main game. I got currently 26 skill, but I'm planning to take it up to 50. My main weapon is Burial Blade, and I use Threaded Cane and Blades of Mercy as my backup weapons, but the Burial Blade is the one that I have upgraded to plus 10. Now, I wanted to show off this build, and I'm just going to do the Chalice Dungeon bosses with it. And I'll also show you guys some important items locations in there. But for now, let's go ahead. Right now, we're just doing the very first Chalice dungeon. It's the central Pthumeru dungeon, the one that you get for killing the blood-starved beast. And right now, we're going to go ahead and fight the first boss. Oh, damn. And it's Undead Giant. Undead Giant is one of the bosses that is unique to the Chalice Dungeons. It's not a particularly tough boss. I mean, it can get tough if you're doing this boss at lower level, because he does hit pretty hard. But if you dodge its attacks and hit it in those tumor-like spots on his legs, he shouldn't be too much of a challenge. He hits pretty slow, and he's very easy to dodge. The only problem with him is that he does do a lot of damage if he does hit you, but since we already beaten most of the game and we only have Chalice Dungeons left, we're leveled up enough where any damage that he gives us, it's not really going to affect us too much. Now, the second boss of this labyrinth is going to be the Keeper of the Old Lord. And at this point, any boss fight is basically going to be pretty easy. The Chalice Dungeon by itself is actually pretty easy. Oh, actually, never mind. It's going to be the Merciless Watchers. I guess the Keeper of Old Lords is the final boss. My bad. A little bit of a fail here. This is going to be an even easier boss fight, simply because right now I can just do enough damage to these guys where I can kill each individual one in just a couple of hits, so it's not going to be too much of a problem. If you have any kind of attack that can stagger them pretty easily, such as jump and R2s, you can see me perform right here. That's going to be the best way to go. Once you defeat them, you will get your first root chalice, which is a Pthumeru Chalice. I wouldn't bother with root chalices though until you get the depth 5 chalices, and I'll expand on that a little bit later in my videos. Okay, and now the third boss of the first Pthumeru Chalice is actually going to be the Watchdog of the Old Lords. Kind of messed it up. I was actually mistaken it for the next chalice, which is the central Pthumeru, and then there's going to be the lower Pthumeru, and then there's going to be the Defiled Chalice. So just trying to keep all my chalices memorized. But yeah, this is your first encounter with the Watchdog of the Old Lords. Now, this is going to be a fairly easy fight, so it shouldn't be too difficult. But it does, this fight does get difficult later on. Right now, you just basically want to pay attention to it, attack, and wait for an opening. And I'll go over the basics on fighting this boss when you fight it later on. When you fight it in the Defiled Chalice, that's when this fight gets really difficult, and that's the one that gives people the most trouble. But this chalice is pretty easy, so Just pay attention to its moves though, because that will come in handy later on. This boss will become a major pain in the ass, so... Even now you can see it still has a number of attacks that pack quite a punch. But at this point we can inflict so much damage to it that no matter how many, how much damage it can dish out, we can basically counter it with dealing even more damage. So pretty easy fight at this point, but later on this will be a difficult boss. Okay, and now the next boss is gonna be the Beast-possesd soul, and right now I'm in the first layer of the central Pthumeru labyrinth, and you get the central Pthumeru Chalice after defeating the Watchdog of the Old Lords in the third layer of the previous Chalice, which is just the regular Pthumeru labyrinth. Now this boss, you've met him before. It's basically the same enemy that you might remember from the hidden area in an upper cathedral ward, except the only difference now is that he's a tad bit tougher and gonna be a little bit more aggressive, but you should still defeat him fairly easy. Just watch out and don't get hit by his big combos or the jumping attack, and you saw me eat a combo there previously. Otherwise he's fairly easy. And you can actually stagger him and combo him. The only thing to watch out for are those combo sweeps. And you can see I kind of just failed at dodging right there. And failed again. Sometimes he'll do like this headbutt like move. Basically you just want to wait till he launches fireballs or does his jump attack. Any kind of pyromancy spell should give you ample time to attack him. For the combos, just dodge to his to your right, which will be his left. And there you go. And that should give you enough opening to put him away. Don't get much for defeating him. These top level bosses don't really give you much in terms of rewards. So okay, and now I also want to show a video of a Hintertomb Chalice location. You get it when you arrive in a layer 2 of the central Pthumerian labyrinth, and as soon as you arrive after you defeat the Beast-possesd soul, before you go up to the first lantern, make sure you take a pathway to the left. And I'm just gonna go ahead, and I've already cleared this area, but I want to show you guys how to pick up the Hintertomb Chalice. You don't need to get it in order to get the Platinum Trophy, but I do like to pick it up just because you do get helpful root chalice by doing the Hintertomb dungeons, which enable you to co-op without creating chalice dungeons. And you get the short root chalice by clearing the lower Hintertomb Chalice, but in order to get to the lower one, you will need to clear out the upper Hintertomb first, and you get it by exploring the pre-dungeon area in a central Pthumerian labyrinth. This is the second layer, as I mentioned before, right after you defeat Beast-possesd soul. Just go and make your way up to this lever here that lowers the drawbridge. Once you arrive here, clear out enemies in this room. Now there's going to be a buttload of enemies. You can see I already did quite a bit of murdering here. So once you murder their asses, go ahead and open up this coffin, and you will receive a Hintertomb Chalice. Okay, now this next boss is the Keeper of the Old Lords, and that's the boss of the Central Pthumerian Labyrinth Layer 2. This boss is another one of the bosses that you will meet in the Defiled Chalice, and it does give people quite a few problems. I'll be doing a video on how to defeat this boss in the Defiled Chalice later on. For now, this boss should not give you too many problems. Just make sure to stay clear of its combos. This boss can be parried and it can be poisoned, so if you want to cheese it, just stock up on some poison knives and that should be pretty easy. Otherwise, he or she is very vulnerable towards your usual R1 mash, so you can always just kind of stun lock it to death. The part where it gets dangerous is, you see right here, this boss kind of buffed its sword to fire and gets a little bit more dangerous, so the attacks do quite a bit more damage. Also keep in mind that once you defeat it, you'll be able to purchase this boss's armor from the Inside Messenger shop at the Hunter Stream, and I highly recommend you do so, because this boss's armor does have the highest fire resist in the game. So make sure you pick it up after you defeat this boss. And you can see right now, not much of a challenge. Pick up the Central Pthumeru Chalice. Again, wouldn't bother too much with that one, simply because you'll be getting better root chalices from lower depth dungeons. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now the final boss of the Central Pthumerian Labyrinth and this video is going to be the Pthumerian Descendant. This boss is a little bit different from the previous ones in the sense that he does attack pretty relentlessly, hits in multiple combos. However, he is fairly easy to parry and dodge, so if you utilize either one of those tactics effectively, if you're pretty good with timing parries, you can go ahead and try to parry him, or you can dodge his first strike, and after that you'll be able to squeeze in a hit on him. And you saw me fail a couple of times here. I was just trying to show off a parry, but did not work. If you get hit a couple of times by him, just make sure you go ahead and dodge. Also watch out, if you're at a distance, he will try to throw his sickle at you. And his weapon is kind of similar to the Blades of Mercy. And once you get his health to about 50%, he'll split his weapon into two, and he will do a lot more damage with those attacks, so be careful. You can actually prevent him from doing so by going up behind him and doing a visceral attack, and you can actually keep using a visceral attack on him. So you can basically chain BS him if you get the timing down. I wasn't able to do this, however, here, so I'm just gonna have to kill him the old-fashioned way. So here we go, and this is gonna conclude this video. In the next video, I'm probably gonna show off my arcane build, and we're gonna do the lower Pthumeru Chalice. In the meantime, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.